The unexpected. DC's new introduction has some exciting characters clubbed together. DC has been expanding its universe and introducing new characters for quite some time, and the unexpected is one such superhero team filled with exciting new characters. Created by Steve Orlando, the unexpected team was introduced in a monthly comic series that first came out in 2018, and it explored the lives of a team of superheroes as they came together to find redemption for their past actions. Today, we will be exploring the entire unexpected comic story arc in detail and tell you all about the adventures of this intriguing team of superheroes. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Exploring the comic book series. The first issue of The Unexpected Comics was released in 2018 and it introduced to us Janet Fowles, also known as the Firebrand. The comic begins with Janet fighting a monster at a bar in Mammoth City, while the bartender casually asks her if this is the 7th monster she has defeated this month. She shrugs him off and settles down with a drink in her hand while she thinks about her past. Janet had saved countless lives while working as a paramedic early on in her life before she took on the persona of the Firebrand. She states that she dodged attacks by crime syndicates and evil monsters back then until one day she ended up in the midst of a demonic attack and lost her heart. While Janet's father disapproved of her job, he used his CIA connections to save her by handing her over to Civil Solutions, a futuristic arms developer company. They operated on her and tempered her entire body before giving her a new metallic heart known as the conflict engine. While Janet returned to life, she learned that the conflict engine could only sustain on the condition that Janet fought someone at least once every 24 hours. Janet then turned into Firebrand, and various monsters and scumbags often came up to her to challenge her on their own. She didn't have to seek trouble in most cases, but Janet still despised that she had to go against her beliefs in just to stay alive. To lessen her guilt, she works part-time at a local hospital, and this is the only time she feels like her old self. Janet uses a fake name, Ronan, at her new job so that her father and Civil Solutions cannot track her down. During one of her shifts at work, the bad Samaritan named Alden Quench shows up as patient and specifically asks for Ronan to assist him. Janet realizes that she cannot start a fight in this hospital and that she also has a lot of time before she needs to refuel her engine. She keeps her cool as she visits Alden, who tells her that he requires her heart. He lunges at her to get his hands on her heart while Janet asks him the reason for wanting her heart. Alden states that his brain had been splintered and it constantly rings a noise that is unbearable to live with. He needed to go to the Call of Mandrak to silence this noise, and Onimar Sin had promised to send him there only if he got Janet's heart for him. However, the rest of the unexpected team, consisting of Neon the Unknown, the Viking Judge, and Eli the Ascendant, show up and ask Alden to let go of Firebrand. They end up in a fight that results in the hospital roof collapsing over the patients, while Neon tries to convince Firebrand to escape with them. She refuses to leave the place in such a condition and rushes back inside when Ally joins her. They fight the Bad Samaritan, who claims that Firebrand's conflict engine belongs to the bad side, even if she doesn't know it yet. Alden tries to fight Ally and finally launches an attack on Neon, who falls to the ground while colorful body matter starts seeping out of his body. Alden realizes that he can use this liquid to get access to the Call of Mandrak, but Neon soon regains his strength and launches a full-blown attack on the Bad Samaritan. In a desperate turn of events, Alden acts quickly and splashes some of Neon's body matter on Firebrand's body before striking her with the Viking Judge's magical axe. This results in the creation of a powerful isotope which causes a huge blast that kills almost everybody in the vicinity. The Viking Judge and Ascendant die in this blast along with the Bad Samaritan. Somehow, only Neon and Firebrand manage to survive, and they spot the nth metal's isotope that radiates an unstable amount of heat. They realize that the isotope is self-charging for a another detonation, and they realize that another blast might even create a hole in the multiverse. Neon states that they need to find a way to stabilize the isotope, and he starts blaming himself for the deaths of everyone around him. In the next issue, Firebrand realizes that things escalated when Alden saw Neon at the hospital, and she asks him for an explanation. As the story goes into a flashback, we learn that Neon was initially a celebrity artist who used to live an indulgent life until he ran out of inspiration. Neon then resorted to performing satanic rituals that would show him the source of the world's creation in order to find inspiration. He finally witnessed the world forge that gifted him with the fires of creation at the cost of turning him blind and even killing all of his friends. Neon then set out to seek redemption when he met the rest of the unexpected team. In the present day, Neon blames himself for the creation of this pink isotope and even believes that he has failed all of his friends. Firebrand states that they need to get out of there before the police arrive, and they decide to take the isotope home with them. Neon inspects the metal surface and concludes that Firebrand's heart and this metal are both echoes of the World Forge. In the meantime, the ancient Thanagarian demon known as Onimar Sin spies on the Bad Samaritan and learns that he has accidentally created an isotope of the nth metal. Onimar sends General Fade to Earth to get the nth metal for him. Fade visits the hospital site and comes across Alden Quench's dead body before moving ahead to track the isotope's location. Back in Thanagar, Onimar Sin's body continues to grow deficient in the nth metals, and he resorts to consuming the manhawks that can provide him with some nth metal. In the meantime, Neon and Firebrand teleport to Neon's house along with the nth metal that keeps getting hotter by the minute. Firebrand suggests that Neon should teleport the metal away to a faraway distance in space, but he replies by saying that it is not that easy to get rid of it. Firebrand then realizes that Quench used the blood of all four of the unexpected from the judge's axe to create the metal. Neon then recollects that Ascendant mentioned a similar process that powered his people's technology, but their conversation is left incomplete when General Fade launches an attack on Neon's house. Both Neon and Firebrand fight Fade and her army of monsters, and Firebrand realizes that Fade works for Onimar Sin. General Fade declares that she will soon take the nth metal isotope and Firebrand's heart as a price for her master, and Firebrand goes into a fit of rage upon hearing this. She starts fighting Fade earnestly and declares that she will demonstrate how her heart helps her stay alive by fighting evil beings like her. While Neon worries that Firebrand's anger could also trigger the nth metal, Firebrand loses control of her anger and almost kills General Fade. However, Neon realizes that Fade is still alive and they need to escape with the nth metal before Fade returns to her senses. They teleport from place to place before reaching the Slaughter Swamp, which is one place where Fade won't be able to track the nth metal. Neon then tells Firebrand that Ascendant was an orc, and he remembers that the orcs used the nth metal as fuel. He even bursts into tears while talking about Eli's home at Black Hawk Island, and they decide to teleport to the place. Here, they meet an AI specialist named June Robbins, who seemed to know Eli quite well. In the third issue, titled The Devil's Secrets, June reveals that Eli was one of her students who once even helped her to perfect her studies on artificial intelligence. Neon asks June if she knew anything about the orcs using the nth metal as a fuel, and she says that the OK metal was the key to their science. They used to mine this metal from the fragments of a ruptured planet in order to power their gravity forces, and Eli was the prince of the orcs. They innovated countless technology and tools with the help of this metal until one day a chronokinetic disaster killed all the orcs. Eli was the sole survivor of this disaster since he was spending his day in a safe zone with some creatures that later evolved into humans. After realizing he was now heir to a kingdom that was forever lost, Eli collected all remnant pieces of orc technology and kept them safe. June tells them that they can find this remnant technology at a refuge spot called Monster Valley. She also tells them that some peaceful monsters fiercely protect this technology, and they have a good chance of finding something that can stabilize the nth metal in this valley. June even hands them a GPS that would lead them to Monster Valley and warns Firebrand not to delve too deep into the multiverse. They teleport to the Monster Valley and soon locate the place where Eli had left all of the remnant Orc technology. They find a device that may stabilize the nth metal isotope when they are interrupted by none other than Onimar Sin himself. While Firebrand struggles to use this device, Onimar declares that he had been ruling Thanagar for long before Orcs even developed their technology, and that he can easily control all these devices. He further demands that Firebrand hand over her heart isotope to him, and that there are thousands of souls trapped within his bones who need the isotope's energy to live on. When Firebrand refuses to give him what he wants, Onimar tries to guilt trip her by saying that she will bear the blame for the death of all these souls in his body. Neon intervenes and states that he can hear the cries of these souls, and they are most certainly trapped within Onimar's body against their will. While Firebrand fights Onimar by using her physical strength, Neon summons a Brontodon dinosaur to defeat Onimar Sin. Onimar somehow manages to bring the dinosaur under his control and then gets his hand on an nth metal device. He partially renews himself with the help of a fuel rod and then scans the world for the nth metal isotope. While Onimar gets preoccupied with the dinosaur, Neon and Firebrand teleport to safety and reach Gotham City. Neon states that Onimar's presence confirmed that the nth metal had indeed come from the Dark Multiverse, and he further says that Gotham is the place where boundaries between their universe and the Dark Multiverse are the thinnest. While Neon tries to warn about the dangers of venturing into the Dark Multiverse, he says that he knows someone who safely went and returned from the Dark Multiverse when the Huntress Prowls makes her presence known. In the fourth issue titled Night of the Huntress, Firebrand and the Huntress get into a brawl after the Huntress aims an arrow at Firebrand while arriving at the scene. A superhero named Signal arrives at the scene to break their fight, and Neon then asks Signal and Huntress to help them locate the key to stabilizing the nth metal. In the meantime, Signal sees flashes of the Bad Samaritan come back to life in a distant place where the entire world is sinking into the Dark Multiverse. He shares these flashes with the others, and Neon insists that this could not be the case since Alden was never able to find a way back there. They relocate to the Bat Cove and run a spectral analysis to be sure, while Signal states that they will be safe here from any attacks by Onimar Sin. Signal once again brings up his strange flashes involving Quench, and he is doubtful if these flashes were from the past or the future. He describes his flashes in more detail and states that he definitely saw the Bad Samaritan spread toxicity in the world by infusing the energy of that world into the nth metal's isotope. Neon then says that Quench had spent years moving from world to world in an attempt to pull them all towards the Dark Multiverse, where his master, Mandrak, also resides. Neon wonders if the nth metal's energy initially came from Quench, and if it did, then what world exactly did it come from? While Neon tries to formulate a theory regarding the origins of the nth metal, Huntress runs a spectral analysis and confirms that the nth metal did come from a different reality. She further recollects that she had heard something about this from an explorer named Captain Robert Walton in the past century, when Onimar Sin finally locates the Bat Cove and launches an attack on their entire team. The floor of the Bat Cove starts quivering, and the place starts flooding while Onimar orders his followers to find the nth metal among these drowning heroes. Neon retaliates by saying that they are not drowning, but rather he can bend these waters to his will due to the fires of creation in his body. In the meantime, Firebrand realizes that the isotope has once again started burning up and is very close to detonating. They try to reason with Onimar by stating that a fight will kill them all if the isotope detonates, but the ancient demon orders his forces to launch an attack on them regardless. General Fade also miraculously appears by Onimar's side, and she once again sets her eyes on Firebrand. Neon tries to subdue the isotope by transforming it, but he is unable unable to transform metal. He finally comes up with a master plan to combine Onimar's army with the isotope's radiation to create a light. Since Neon could use his powers to create something new, his plan works successfully, and he then teleports Onimar and his army of followers across the horizon by using the light from the isotope. Onimar furiously kills his entire army as a punishment for failing this mission, and he then tracks Neon and Firebrand, who have now made their way to Castle Frankenstein to meet Hawkman. Hawkman had previously dealt with metals from another world, and they hope to find some answers regarding the key to stabilizing the nth metal. In the 5th issue of this comic, Neon and Firebrand introduce themselves to Hawkman and ask for his help in dealing with the nth metal isotope. Hawkman starts hearing Mandrak's voice mocking him from the dark multiverse, and he is enraged to hear this since he hoped never to hear his voice again. Firebrand reassures Hawkman by saying that the isotope intensifies the emotions of those surrounding it and that the voices aren't real. But Hawkman doesn't believe her and even tries to attack her. Hawkman further demands that they take the isotope away from him, but Firebrand insists that he must help them by defusing it. The two of them get into an argument which causes the isotope to heat up once again, and Neon tries to control the situation by transforming both Firebrand and Hawkman's anger into hope. The two soon come to their senses and have a civil conversation, and Hawkman suggests that they look into Frankenstein's laboratory for a suitable solution. Neon also tells Hawkman that Onimar Sin had been hunting them down and it won't take him long to locate them once again. Hawkman states that he has once defeated Onimar Sin while Sin detects the isotope's radiation at Castle Frankenstein and makes his way there. In the meantime, Hawkman takes Neon and Firebrand to Victor Frankenstein's laboratory and they activate the meta-schematic system that runs analysis on the isotope. Hawkman deciphers this analysis and states that the nth metal is psych-reactive and that it alters the emotions of those around him. He further says that there was a strong wave of hate around the metal when it was created, and this hate has altered the metal's atomic alignment and made it a tool of destruction. Neon then states that the Bad Samaritan was present when this isotope was created and his powers of destruction must have created such a deadly isotope. They then try to figure out the source of the isotope, and Hawkman states that the isotope's radiation indicates that it came from an unknown source outside the multiverse. While Hawkman finishes his sentence, Onimar Sin barges into the castle and uses his gravity force to wreak havoc. Onimar even consumes Firebrand's soul and then asks Neon to either hand the isotope to him or else watch helplessly as Firebrand's soul is lost within his body. Neon refuses to hand him the isotope and then uses his powers to enter Onimar's body to locate Firebrand's soul. In the next issue, number 6, titled The Soul of Sin, Neon tries to find Firebrand's soul within Onimar Sin's body while Onimar fights Hawkman in the physical world. Neon locates Firebrand's soul quickly, but her soul seems to gravitate towards an nth metal prison within Onimar's body. Neon refuses to lose another one of his friends and does his best to convince Firebrand's soul to break free from the nth metal. Firebrand finally snaps out of her current state and she tries to find a way out with Neon. They come across General Fade's soul resting within Sin's body and then realize that thousands of anguished souls are trapped within Onimar Sin's body. While Onimar locates the isotope in Victor's lab in the physical world, Neon and Firebrand convince these souls to break free from Onimar's body and weaken him from the inside. All of a sudden, Onimar's body bursts from within as all these souls break free, and Neon then uses the fires of creation to restore Firebrand's soul in her own body. With nothing left to sustain his body, Onimar was finally destroyed, but the energy from these souls had caused the isotope to fire up. Hawkman tries to contain the isotope's fire, but it becomes impossible to control the isotope and it finally detonates. Neon tries to contain the isotope's energy to prevent it from spreading everywhere, and he finally realizes the familiar energy radiating from the isotope. He asks Hawkman and Firebrand to hold on tight, and they all teleport to a place known as the Bleed that exists outside the multiverse. The Bleed was a place near the barrier between the dark and the positive multiverses, and the isotope was finally at rest in this place. In the meantime, a hiker in the Canadian mountains finds Alden Quench's remains, and the Bad Samaritan comes to life and kills the hiker while restoring his own body. He then tries to locate the nth isotope and realizes that the isotope is with Neon in the bleed. Moreover, he discovers that his master, the Mandrak, has risen in the bleed and is currently facing the unexpected team. In the meantime, a strange entity appears before Neon, Firebrand and Hawkman and tells them that trespassing the bleed is punishable by death. Neon tries to defend themselves by saying that the isotope guided them here and it was actually the Bad Samaritan who used them to create this isotope in the first place. The creature then remembers the Bad Samaritan as one of his loyal disciples and his body soon transforms into the Mandrak. In the 7th issue titled Rage of the Fusionauts, the unexpected team faces Mandrak in all his glory, while Hawkman addresses him as just another devil. Mandrak retaliates by saying that he is actually the anti-god who once ripped out the Tempest Fusionaut's heart from his body. Mandrak then proposes to do the same with Firebrand, who asserts that he would not be able to handle her heart. Neon then launches an attack on Mandrak, who threatens to bleed heaven and hell dry so that no one could ever destroy him. The two of them fight each other, and the nth isotope falls from Neon's hand and onto the ground. The Bad Samaritan finally announces his presence at the scene as he picks up the isotope and consumes it. Neon is shocked to see that Alden is still alive, and he wonders how the Bad Samaritan came back to life. In the meantime, Mandrak corners Firebrand and tells her that she is too weak to wield her heart and that she is wasting its potential. As the scene returns to Alden and Neon tries to reason with Alden by making him realize that if Mandrak reaches the multiverse, he will feed on all creation. However, Alden is not too concerned with Mandrak's intention, and he seems pleased just to be able to defeat Neon once again. Alden tries to attack Neon, who uses his power of creation against Alden's powers of destruction. Amid the chaos, Alden approaches Mandrak and asks him to silence the call that rings through his brain. However, Mandrak declares that he cannot do anything for Alden since he arrived too late and even addresses him as trash. Alden finally loses his cool at his master and lunges at Mandrak with the intention of killing him. Though he puts up a good fight, Alden doesn't stand a chance in front of Mandrak and eventually dies at the hands of his former master. Mandrak then redirects his attention towards Neon, Firebrand and Hawkman and unleashes his powers as the vampire god. While Neon believes that he can put up a good fight against Mandrak, he sadly dies a painful death at the monster's hand as Mandrak bites his neck and drinks his blood. In the final issue titled The Resurrection Pact, Mandrak tells Firebrand and Hawkman that he just killed their captain and he will kill the two of them in the same manner. In the meantime, Neon and Quench end up in the World Forge and finally help each other out. Neon states that though they are dead, they haven't been completely annihilated and they still have a chance to escape before they are vaporized at the core of the World Forge. While Quench does not want to live anymore, Neon tries to talk some sense into him and insists that they both serve the World Forge in the end. He even realizes that creation and destruction are the same things and that they should have never fought each other from the start. Neon then asks Quench to give him a chance to prove his theory and accompany him back into the Monitor world. While Firebrand and Hawkman struggle to defend themselves against Mandrak, Neon resurfaces from beneath the ground along with Alden. Mandrak declares that he stood outside the laws of creation and that any being he killed could not possibly still be alive. However, Neon states that what's created cannot be destroyed and art doesn't burn, and he makes a dramatic appearance along with Alden Quench. Neon further states that all creation, be it dark, positive, or antimatter, does bend to the fires of creation. Alden also stands alongside Neon, Firebrand, and Hawkman for a while, just to get his revenge on Mandrak. They all come together to defeat Mandrak, and Neon uses his fires of creation to change Mandrak into something good. While Mandrak once fed on positive matter as the vampire god, he will now only sustain on dark matter. Mandrake then realizes that the Dark Universe calls out to him, and Firebrand punches his weakened body into the Dark Multiverse. Neon and Alden Quench then declare that they are no longer enemies, and Neon even uses his powers to transform Alden into a mortal being. As they all return to Earth, the Bad Samaritan starts a new life on Earth and swears not to use his fires of destruction anymore. Hawkman also lives a quiet life under the alias Carter Hall, while Neon uses his powers for good on Earth and returns to the public eye as a superhero. Neon also rebuilds the hospital that was destroyed during their first clash with Alden, and Firebrand returns to her old life where she fought off monsters every day. Some major characters introduced in The Unexpected. Janet Fowles, aka Firebrand. Janet Fowles was an ordinary human who used to work as a paramedic and save countless lives in her former life. During the Dark Multiverse invasion, she ended up in a terrible accident and passed away due to a heart issue. Her father then used his CIA connections to bring her back to life by sending her body to an advanced weapons developer company called Civil Solutions. They gave her a new mechanical heart known as the Conflict Engine, and Janet returned to life on the condition that she should fight someone once every 24 hours. As long as she stirred up conflict daily, her heart kept running and she could sustain her new life. Janet then took on the identity of the Firebrand, and she would sometimes fight in underground matches in order to keep living. She even took the alias Ronin in order to work at a hospital and get rid of some of her guilt for leading such a life. While volunteering at the VA hospital, she came across the Bad Samaritan Alden Quench and joined forces with Neon's team of superheroes to fight Quench. Firebrand's conflict engine gave her superhuman strength, durability, and ability to generate fire. She was a trained paramedic and was also skilled in hand-to-hand combat. All about Neon the Unknown. Neon was initially a celebrity artist and influencer named Colin Nomi, who lived a very indulgent lifestyle. He was blessed with fame and money, but this was not enough for him to find more inspiration, and he set out to perform more risky tasks that might inspire him. He finally decided to mimic a satanic ritual that would show him the source of creation itself. Somehow, his ritual worked, and Nomi saw the world forge for a second. The magnitude of the forge lit up a fire inside him and turned him blind and even killed all of his friends. However, Colin somehow survived, and the forge blessed him with the fires of creation that can construct anything. He then took the name Neon the Unknown and went on a path of redemption when he met the Viking judge and Ascendant. By bestowing him with the fires of creation, the World Forge reconstructed Neon's body and replaced his blood with a colorful liquid body matter. He then had the ability to manipulate or transform any earthly materials, but only on the condition that he would create something new out of them. While Neon was blind, all of his other senses were greatly heightened due to the fires of creation, and he could also teleport from one place to another. He was the informal leader of the Unexpected team that defended the multiverse from various threats. Bad Samaritan, the primary villain in the series. Alden Quench, also known as the Bad Samaritan, was an evil entity who had once performed a ritual to see the source of creation. In a similar process as Neon, Alden was then bestowed with the fires of destruction from deep within the World Forge. The Dark Monitor Mandrake then kept sending calls to summon Quench to the Dark Multiverse, and this voice kept ringing in the Bad Samaritan's head and annoyed him. He tried to find a way to stop this ringing, and he then started destroying realities in the hope that they would sink into the Dark Multiverse and stop Mandrake from summoning him. Eventually, Quench made a deal with the ancient demon Onimar Sin to get Firebrand's heart for him if only he would get rid of the ringing in his head. This led Quench to cross paths with Firebrand and Neon, whom he considered his arch-rival. Quench could destroy entire worlds by using his fires of destruction, and he could also project energy into the universe and fire energy blasts. Onimar Sin, the Ancient Demon. Onimar Sin was an ancient Thanagarian demon who was defeated by Hawkman and supposedly killed during an ancient war. However, he later resurfaced in the modern world and once again took control of Thanagar. He then became obsessed with the dark multiverse and was especially interested in the new isotope of the nth metal. He then sent Alden Quench and General Fade to get the nth metal's heart from Firebrand's chest, and he later took matters into his own hands by arriving on Earth to find the nth metal's isotope. Onimar had an army of followers, and he had also trapped numerous innocent souls in his body until Neon and Firebrand set them free. As the ruler of Thanagar, Onimar had many powers, but his most notable power was his ability to manipulate gravity. Besides this, he could also control nuclear forces, absorb souls, and manipulate electrically charged particles. Conclusion. The Unexpected delved into the world of dark matter and multiverses and introduced us to a new line of superheroes that drew their strength from mysterious forces in the universe. It was certainly an engaging story arc centered around themes of redemption and moral rebirth, and the comic series received great reviews from critics and audiences alike. While the Unexpected team goes their separate ways by the end of the comics, there is a chance that they might come together in future DC works, especially in storylines related to the dark multiverse. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.